I have a toddler son with my ex. He was honest and told me he didn't want to be a dad and believed he was too selfish to be a good one. I didn't want an abortion, and he said he wouldn't force me to get one. So we agreed that I would have the baby and he would help me financially, but I wouldn't expect anything else from him. My friend Nancy, a close family friend of my ex's, recently wouldn't stop asking me if my ex was my son's father since he looks like him. Only my family knew he was, and I wasn't going to tell her at first, but Nancy's one of my best friends, and I thought I could trust her. So I asked her not to tell anyone, as I didn't want it to be public knowledge. Despite agreeing not to, she ended up telling not only my ex about me supposedly hiding his baby from him, but also his entire family. It's caused many issues, and my ex's family has a lawyer threatening to take my son away from me. My ex's family is influential, and I can't afford to fight them in court, so I'm terrified of them. Nancy tried apologizing to me after my ex told her he had always known about our son. I was so angry and upset that I just yelled at her until she left. I told her she was a witch and that she had ruined my life. Nancy's been getting sympathy from some of our mutual friends who think I was too harsh, since she felt she was doing the right thing by telling my ex, who's like family to her, that he had a child. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She didn't just tell your ex, but also his family. She, knowing best, has potentially created a situation for him and a substantial legal issue for you that you not only can't afford, but could also result in losing custody of your child. Yes, you have the right to be angry. Her interfering could ruin your life. She broke your trust. Thanks to her idiocy, I would demand she pay for the lawyer that you'll now need. Not only did she tell the ex and the family, but she also went and complained about the situation to mutual friends. So an argument could be made for sharing it with the father, not the extended family, and definitely not the mutual friends. What an idiot. Agree. I would expect her to help your ex's family in court before I would expect her to try to make things right with OP. OP, she tricked you into telling her, and then told on you and created family drama. She could have approached him privately but chose not to. She wanted to look like a hero for exposing you, but there was no good deed done that day. She's not your friend. Cut contact with her. Yeah, she was trying to insert herself into the story because she wanted to be associated with it forever, so that when people gossiped about the drama, they'd have to mention her. Only this story isn't about a father trying to win custody from a wicked mother who hid the child away. It's about a father who doesn't want to be involved at all and nosy parents threatening to harass a single mother. So the story isn't as good and doesn't paint her in a heroic light anymore. You and your ex should go to court ASAP and establish a court-ordered arrangement where he agrees to pay child support until whatever visitation arrangement you two agree with. The judge does not have to arrange for you if you two can agree to the terms of the parenting plan. This way, the family will be less likely to try and take your son. Your ex should also deal with his family in this situation and explain to him that he already knew and you two already made arrangements. I, 34 male, am in a situation where I feel I'm right, but some friends and family feel I'm in the wrong. I genuinely don't think I'm in the wrong, so I'm looking for some unbiased opinions and answers. My wife Elizabeth died when my daughter Davina, tween, was born, so I decided to name her the middle name of her mother in honor of her. My current wife Natalie, 34, didn't know this up until 2 weeks ago when a cousin accidentally slipped it out. It's important to add that Natalie gets jealous of Elizabeth from time to time because Davina knows that Elizabeth was her real mom and has pictures of her to remind her. Also, Natalie and I are expecting, so now she's hung up on naming our daughter Natalie. I understand she's jealous, but I feel like she's only trying to one-up Elizabeth by doing this. I've already expressed my dislike for her doing this, but she brushes it off and says things like, "If you loved me more than Elizabeth, you would let me have this." At dinner with my family last night, she revealed without my knowing that the baby's name would be Natalie. I could tell my family knew what she was trying to do and just sat there awkwardly. I didn't want to embarrass her by saying anything directly, but when we got home, I told her that I was putting my foot down and I refused to let her name our baby that. She called me cruel and pathetic for still loving Elizabeth, even though she was dead. I honestly didn't know what to say and just left. I'm currently writing this at my parents' house and seriously contemplating divorce. Not the idiot. She's jealous of a dead woman and is actively trying to one-up your late wife to get you to prove you love her more? That is not healthy. This woman needs therapy immediately. Don't let your daughter be named out of spite. Not a great way to come into this world. What triggered me was the way his current wife sang, "If you loved me more than your dead wife, you would do what I want." That is disgusting behavior. And I don't give a hang about hormones. I've been in the grips of raging hormones and been tempted to slap people with dead fish. I still had a brain to know that wasn't right, so I enjoy my thoughts secretly. I'm slightly concerned that our obsessive competition with your late wife will also play out in the unequal treatment of your daughters once Natalie's biological daughter's born. You're not crazy for considering divorce, and I would absolutely insist on couples counseling with your wife if you stay married. Being this competitive with a woman who's been dead for a decade is mad. Huge red flags throughout this post. If you're not going to do it for yourself because you deserve better, divorce her for your daughter, who likely feels she has to hide her love for her deceased mom to spare your current wife's delusional feelings. I wonder how often this wife's deep insecurity has affected OP and his daughter. I'm sure this isn't the first time. It takes a very weak person to feel like they're living in the shadow of the dead parent. It's her mother, for God's sake. She should always be remembered and cherished and loved. This story involves me, 33 female, and my half-sister, 32. We share a father with different mothers. Our dad was married to my mom and expecting me when he got her mom pregnant. Mom found out and kicked him to the curb, and things were always incredibly awkward. My mom chose to stay single. Dad and my half-sister's mom got married. For a long, long time, my half-sister and I fought like cats and dogs. She was always up my butt about how our mom was so awesome and I should choose her over my mom. That my mom was the reason we weren't a real family. I resented her for saying that when her mom was the other woman between my parents. I also resented her because my dad expected me to be way more mature than her, despite our barely 1-year age gap. So we weren't great to each other. Over time, the resentment for me shifted from what our dad and her mom did and more about how she would act like my mom had no right to be in my life. She never really grew out of seeing my mom as someone who shouldn't have been there. We both married young and both struggled to have children. Last year, my mom gave me money to go after more intensive fertility treatments, and it worked, and I'm expecting a child with my husband. However, my half-sister has still been unsuccessful, and we got into a fight recently where she said my mom should be giving her money too, since we're sisters, and she's never tried to welcome her into the family. I was enraged hearing that. For years, she made it seem like my mom should go away and leave me to be raised by her mom, and then she says mom should have given her money? I told her she was an entitled brat if she thought that, because my mom owed her nothing after the way she had spoken about her for most of her life. I told her to go ask her mommy for money, since she's so great, and leave mine alone. She started to argue, and I told her that her mom should do it, since she's just the best ever, and if she wanted a grandchild, this was her chance. She got so upset. Our dad couldn't believe I was so unsupportive of her. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Why in the world would someone pay for their ex's child with someone else to get IVF? What? Your sister sounds nuts. All sorts of entitled. She sounds obsessed with your mom. All that chatter about my mom is better than your mom might be defensive. Who was she trying to convince? You or her? Tell her to kick sand. She doesn't get to trash your mom all her life and then come running with her hands out when she wants cash. Sister is a major idiot. But what is wrong with your dad? I mean, I already know because it's obvious, but it still begs the question to be asked. This home-wrecking, family-breaking, sorry excuse of a father and husband has the unmitigated gall to accuse you of being unsupportive of your half-sister's blatant entitlement to your his ex's money? And your half-sister has the actual gall to say the cruelest, hateful things about your mother to your face for years. Then she gets offended that the woman she's hated all this time refuses to give her, the one who hates her even existing, money for IVF. What the heck kind of upside down, inside out, warped reality do your half-sister and dad think this is anyway? I don't often read these with my mouth agape, but holy crap. Half-sister is dripping with aggression and disdain. OP, you should have cut her down years ago. And you should definitely go no contact with that whole side of your family. This is disgusting, and I'd be afraid your sister will try to pull some really underhanded crap with the baby. Don't let any of them near you or your baby. I'd even go so far as to have code words for doctors and everything else, including anyone having anything to do with the baby shower. I wouldn't put it past her or your dad to try and cancel, ruin, or otherwise interfere with your peace and happiness. My daughter, Teen, always had trouble with her hair. It's extremely curly, dry, and prone to tangles and split ends. It's beautiful, but it was always painful for her. When her hair was long enough when she was 7 or 8, I began giving her a half-up ponytail. I liked that style and gave it to her every day. She initially didn't mind much, but she resented it over time. Since she was 10, she would beg me to let her wear her hair down repeatedly, and I would tell her that she didn't have the right type of hair because it would puff up whenever she let her hair down. So she would ask me to get her hair straightened with every chance she got. A year later, she came up to me with various ideas where she would wear hair clips and headbands so the hair wouldn't puff up. I initially let her do it, but it made her look unkempt, so I stopped letting her. Instead, I offered a few variations of her hairstyle, such as twisting the top of her hair before tying it, which she took. Then she got a bob cut. She began styling it as having a side bang and having a hair clip. I let her keep it, but a month later I began to insist that she let me give her the half-up ponytail, to which she got upset, but eventually gave in. At some point, she ditched the hairstyle and tied her hair up in a ponytail. She only let me do it occasionally. Over the past few years, she grew her hair out to her waist, the longest it's been, and began experimenting with a variety of hairstyles like pigtails, half-up pigtails, and half buns. All of these looked good on her, but they made her look childish. Whenever I offered to give her the half-up ponytail, she would insist on doing it in a full bun instead, which was beautiful on her. She's been asking for a pixie cut, but I didn't want her to get one since I was scared that it would puff up. So I told her that she could get a layered shoulder-length haircut instead, to which she complied. After that, she began wearing her hair down, sometimes tying it up in a ponytail, and while it no longer hurts her and it looks good on her, her hair is still messy and curly. Finally, however, I stopped styling it and just let her do whatever she wanted. Today, I invited guests over. I had my daughter get ready. Everything was going well until I asked her to let me brush her hair. She asked me not to give her that hairstyle, and I told her she was going to. I told her that I wouldn't let her strut around with her hair messy like that. She got upset and said that she didn't like it and tried to offer some other suggestions, such as a pigtail or a bun, but I told her that the pigtail made her look childish, and I didn't have time to give her a bun, and the fact that she rarely ever wears it anymore. As I was styling her hair, she was on the verge of tears, and during the entire visit, she gave me the cold shoulder. I'm starting to wonder if I took it too far, but I just want her to look presentable. So, am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Curly hair isn't messy. Please stop trying to control how your teenage daughter styles her hair. It sounds like she enjoys her hair, and all you do is put her down about it. I wouldn't be surprised to find out if she has self-image issues or lacks confidence because of your parenting. Let her live her life. It's her hair, and it's not hurting anyone. It's your daughter's body, and she's not a doll for you to dress up. Wow, you are the idiot, like the biggest idiot. So during her childhood, instead of putting in the effort to learn how to care for curly hair, you just picked the easiest hairstyle for you, even though she ended up not liking it. That's just laziness on your part. Now she's a teenager, 2 years away from being an adult. And you think you still have the right to force her to wear her hair the way you want? You are a controlling helicopter parent. Let her do what she wants with her hair. She's going to anyway in 2 years, when you will have no say anymore. It would help if you were encouraging her to try all different hairstyles to find what she likes. She will likely never forget the amount of control you tried to have over her hair. It may not seem like a big deal to you, but it will to her, and it'll stick with her well into her adult years. You really couldn't take your daughter to a salon and talk with a professional about how to best take care of and manage her hair? All I could think reading this was, stop dry brushing it and learn how to take care of it. My wife, 59, and I, 58 male, have one son, 29, together. My wife has always been very protective of our son and just wants the best for him. However, our son came out as bi his junior year of high school, and my wife had difficulty adjusting. Son and wife do have a relationship, but not as close. Son is engaged to a woman who is transitioning to male. He's a very nice person, and I'm so happy they found each other. My wife talked nonstop about going dress shopping, and he told her that he wanted to wear a nice tuxedo. So I took his fiancé shopping for a tuxedo and even helped with some of the cost. Their wedding is in June, and everything's almost ready. Many family members and friends are attending. We went out to celebrate with some family, and when my son asked my wife if she was excited about the wedding, she says, "Oh, honey, I'm not going." Son asks why, and she says, "Because it's not the wedding I pictured for you, and I can't stand your fiancé." I quickly pulled my wife aside and started scolding her for being so rude to our son and his fiancé. We got into a huge argument, and I took her home. She hasn't spoken to me since the event, and our son wants to go no contact with her. Am I the idiot for scolding my wife about her decision not to attend my son's wedding? So your son is marrying a trans man, and your wife assumed he would want to wear a dress? And she was excited about the wedding until she found out that he, of course, wanted to wear a tux. Did she not know he was trans? I tell her, well, I never pictured that I would have a wife that could be so self-centered that she's going to miss her own child's wedding. Not the idiot. Your wife is showing her true colors and is a bigot. Your son and his future husband have the right to go no contact, and this might be a good reason for separation if you cannot work out her issues with a therapist. Thank you for being supportive of your son. Wow, I hate this from parents. Oh, it's not what I pictured for you. Well, she isn't the one getting married. It's a shame she can't embrace the happiness that your son and his fiancé have found, but is so stuck in biphobia that she can't see that she's choosing her idealized version of your son's future over her actual living and breathing son. I would respect your son's choice to go no contact with her. And honestly, you were more than in the right when you told her off. Good on you for being a good parent.